Welcome in, everybody. Today we're taking a deep dive into single-parent families.
Really looking forward to this one.
We're going to be focusing on well-being and happiness and development.
All very important.
Absolutely. And we've got this fantastic book here, Single-Parent Family, Strategies for Well-Being, Happiness, and Development.
By Mental Wellness TV.
That's right. And it covers so much.
It really does.
Everything from practical stuff like, budgeting.
Time management.
To deeper dives into emotional stuff,
Yeah.
like even legal rights and the role of technology and all this stuff.
Really a comprehensive guide.
So by the end of this deep dive,
Yeah.
hopefully you'll have a solid understanding
I hope so.
of the unique challenges and the opportunities
Absolutely.
that single-parent families face.
It's definitely its own unique thing.
For sure. And we want to give you some actual strategies that you can take away and use.
Actionable stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So you can thrive.
That's the goal.
So right off the bat, the book defines a single-parent family. And it emphasizes those multiple hats you wear as a single parent.
Sure.
Caregiver, breadwinner.
Right.
And that super important role of having a close bond with your kids.
Yeah, that connection is so important.
So important.
Yeah.
And it also mentions that around 24% of children in Greece live in single-parent families.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if you have any experience with Greece.
Not personally,
I don't either.
but that's certainly a significant number.
It is.
It really highlights that this is a growing demographic.
Yeah.
And that's worldwide.
Yeah.
It's not just Greece.
And that's exactly why it's so important to have these resources
Right.
that are specifically tailored to single-parent families.
Absolutely.
And so the book acknowledges
Yeah.
that, even though there's this increasing social acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
financial hardship is a reality for a lot of single-parent families.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's a common challenge.
But instead of dwelling on that,
Right.
the book jumps straight into practical strategies
It's good.
for managing your money.
Yeah. Get right into it.
So let's unpack that a bit.
Yeah.
What is that approach that the book takes to finances?
Well, it really emphasizes being proactive
Okay.
and being strategic with your money.
Okay.
One of the key ideas is resource allocation.
Okay.
And that basically means
Like choosing where your money's going.
exactly
Uh-huh.
making intentional choices about where to direct your limited resources.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have young children,
Uh-huh.
the book suggests prioritizing spending on their education
Okay.
and their health care.
Yeah, that makes it.
Making sure they have those essentials covered.
Right, because that's what they need at that age.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's about aligning your spending with what your family actually needs at that point.
Absolutely.
But what about
Yeah.
saving?
Yeah, that's a good question.
When money's already tight,
It can feel impossible.
how do you even start with that?
Right.
It can feel super daunting.
Well, the book acknowledges that it's tough.
Okay.
But it recommends starting small.
Okay.
Even setting aside just a few euros each week.
Okay.
Whatever you can manage.
It's just consistency is the main thing.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
Okay.
Think of it like those small contributions
Yeah.
eventually build up to a safety net
Right.
for those unexpected expenses.
Which inevitably happen.
Oh, they always do.
Yeah.
So that gives you peace of mind in the long run.
It's like that feeling of security.
Exactly.
Even if it's just a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we've touched on finances.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's dive into another crucial aspect.
Okay.
Emotional well-being.
Oh, that's
Huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the book seems to go beyond just coping
Yeah.
with stress.
It's not just about survival.
It really is about thriving.
It is about thriving. It's about living a fulfilling life.
So what's the approach there?
Well, one of the core messages is emotion management.
Okay.
It's not just about, gritting your teeth. Right.
Pushing through.
And white-knuckling it through the day.
Just getting through the day.
Yeah.
Surviving.
It's about actually equipping yourself with tools
Okay.
to create a positive and stable environment.
For you and your kids.
For everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the book mentions these actionable tips.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
practicing self-compassion.
Yes.
So do you have a favorite example from the book about that?
Well, there's one that I really like.
Okay.
It suggests scheduling 15 minutes each day.
Okay.
Just 15 minutes for something you genuinely enjoy.
Okay.
So it could be reading a novel,
Okay.
taking a bath,
Yeah.
listening to music,
Okay.
anything that brings you joy.
So it's like giving yourself permission
Yes.
to recharge, even if it's for a short time.
Absolutely.
Because it's so easy to feel guilty about that,
Oh, yeah.
especially as a single parent.
You feel like you should be doing something else Right. all the time.
But the book actually says that.
It argues that.
That actually makes you a better parent.
It does.
in the long run.
Because when you're taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
you're more able to take care of others.
Yeah. So it's like a win-win.
Exactly.
You're modeling good behavior, and you're also feeling better.
Right.
So you can actually show up for your kids.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's move on to talking about raising thriving kids.
Okay.
In a single-parent household,
Sure.
what are some of the unique things that the book says about education?
Okay, well, one thing that stood out to me
Okay.
is the concept of blended learning.
Okay.
So instead of relying solely on textbooks
Okay.
and traditional methods,
Mm-hmm.
the book encourages using a mix of resources.
Okay.
So that could be books, videos, interactive games.
So making it engaging.
Exactly. Making learning more fun and engaging for the child.
Okay.
And it taps into their natural curiosity.
Which kids have in spades?
They do.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that blended learning
Yeah.
can actually play to the strengths of a single-parent family.
In what way?
Well, as a single parent, you might not always have time
Yeah, that's the truth.
for those elaborate projects
Right.
or traditional teaching methods.
Yeah?
So blended learning allows you to be more flexible and creative with your approach.
Okay.
The book also emphasizes connecting with your child's school
Okay.
and teachers
Yeah.
to create a strong support system.
So communication is key.
Communication's key.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And speaking of support systems,
Uh-huh.
the book dedicates a whole chapter to that
Yeah, it's so important.
because it's easy to feel isolated
It is.
as a single parent.
Especially in those early days.
Right. So building a network is so crucial.
Absolutely. And it's not just about practical help.
Okay.
You know, having people who understand
Understand the unique challenges.
exactly
Yeah.
can provide that emotional support.
Yeah, because they've been there.
Exactly.
So the book actually recommends in-person support groups
Oh, yeah.
for that kind of thing.
They can be fantastic.
Why is that?
Well, because you can connect with others who truly get it.
Who've been through the same thing.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
understand your experiences.
So it's not just like,
Yeah.
your friends and family who are trying to be supportive,
Right.
but they don't actually know what it's like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But we do live in a digital world.
We do.
So the book also acknowledges the role of online communities
Absolutely.
in connecting single parents.
Yeah. It's become such a valuable resource.
Yeah. Because they can offer that sense of belonging
Right.
and shared experience.
Especially for those who might not have access to in-person groups.
Right. So it's like another option.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the book encourages a mindful approach to social media.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
It can be a double-edged sword.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's about finding those spaces where you feel supported
Uh-huh.
without feeling like you have to present this perfect image,
Right.
which social media is full of.
It can be so overwhelming. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about something that can feel like a constant battle. Time management.
The juggle is real.
It really is.
Yeah.
How does a single parent manage to juggle work,
Right.
parenting,
Yeah.
and somehow find some personal time?
Right.
It seems impossible.
Well, the book offers some really practical strategies.
Okay.
And it all starts with creating a routine
Oh.
that works for you and your family.
But doesn't that sound a bit rigid?
Well, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
It's more about having a framework
Okay.
to help you stay organized.
Right. Because things come up
They always do,
all the time.
especially with kids.
Right.
So it's not about being rigid.
Okay.
It's about having a plan,
Okay.
but being flexible enough to adapt.
So being able to roll with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a key part of creating a successful routine
Uh-huh.
is involving your children
Okay.
in the process.
So they feel some ownership
Exactly. It
Right.
becomes a collaborative effort.
instead of like a, dictatorship.
Right. It's not just about telling them what to do.
Right.
It's about working together
Okay.
to create a schedule that benefits everyone.
I love that.
Yeah.
So they feel bought in.
Exactly.
Okay. And then the book also talks about
Huh?
scheduling dedicated family time,
Yes.
even if it's just for a short period.
Even 15 minutes
Oh.
can make a difference.
Okay.
The goal is to be fully present in
Yeah.
those moments.
Putting away distractions.
Put away the phone.
Turning off the TV.
Out the TV.
And just connecting.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
We've talked about finances,
Uh-huh.
emotional well-being,
Right.
education,
Yes.
time management,
Absolutely.
but we've really just scratched the surface.
We have a lot more to discuss.
So stay tuned.
Yes, we'll be back. So before the break, we were talking about that family time.
That quality time.
That's so important.
It is,
Yeah, even amidst a busy schedule, just that genuine connection.
But it can be tough to make that happen, when you're
Because
juggling so many different things as a single parent.
definitely.
The book also goes into some other areas,
Okay.
like less obvious ones, like legal rights
Hmm.
and technology,
Yeah.
which are super relevant
They
to
are.
single parents.
To everyone really these
Oh,
days, but
absolutely.
especially single parents.
So the book talks about understanding your legal rights,
Okay.
especially when it comes to things like custody arrangements.
So knowing what you're entitled to
Exactly. It's about being informed.
and being prepared.
Yeah. What kind of documents does it recommend having?
Well, it highlights things like wills
Okay.
and custody agreements.
Okay.
Having those documents in place
Uh-huh.
provides clarity
Right.
and protection for both you and your children.
Yeah. So you're not scrambling later if
Exact-
something happens.
Right.
Okay.
And it also stresses understanding your rights regarding child support. Okay.
And any government assistance programs that you might be eligible for.
So it's like advocating for yourself and for your family.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about technology.
Okay.
I'm really curious to hear what the book says about that.
Yeah. It's a big one these days.
Huge.
And the book tackles it head on.
Okay.
It recognizes that technology can be both a blessing and a curse,
Oh, for sure.
especially for single parents.
How so?
Well, on the one hand,
Yeah.
it offers incredible tools
Okay.
for connection support, even education.
Like all those apps and resources,
Exactly.
online support groups, all that.
There's so much out there.
Yeah.
But the book also highlights those potential downsides.
The dark side of
Mm.
technology.
It talks about setting healthy boundaries with technology.
Right, because it's so easy to get sucked in,
It is.
especially when you're feeling isolated or you're, stressed.
You just want to escape
Yeah.
into your phone.
Exactly.
But the book really emphasizes that digital well-being. So what does that look like?
Well, it encourages parents to be mindful of their own screen time.
Okay, so modeling good behavior.
Exactly, leading by example
Yeah.
and setting clear guidelines for their children's technology use.
Okay.
One tip I found helpful was creating tech-free zones in the house.
Like what kind of zones?
Oh, for example,
Yeah.
having a rule that phones are off during meal times
Okay.
or in bedrooms at night.
So those moments of connection are actually tech-free.
Exactly, reclaiming those moments.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And then the book also talks about teaching those digital literacy skills
Yes, that's so important.
to your kids.
It's not just about setting limits.
Okay.
It's about empowering children to use technology responsibly and safely.
Because it's not going away.
It's not.
It's just part of the world.
It's part of their world.
So how do you do that? How do you teach those skills?
Well, the book encourages things like teaching them about online safety,
Okay.
privacy settings,
Uh-huh.
critical thinking skills.
So they're not just blindly consuming
Exactly, teaching them to question things.
Okay, so it's like media literacy, essentially.
It is.
Oh.
Digital citizenship.
Okay, so let's move on to talking about
Okay.
stress management
Okay.
and those moments of crisis that inevitably come up.
Yeah, because life happens.
Life happens.
Yeah.
So what does the book say about dealing with that?
Well, this is where the book's emphasis on building resilience really comes in.
Okay.
It offers practical strategies for coping with stress.
Like what?
Well, everything from simple things like incorporating mindfulness techniques into your daily routine
Okay.
to seeking professional help when needed,
Yeah.
because sometimes you need extra support.
It's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely. And
Right.
it's important to remember that asking for help is not a sign of weakness.
It's a sign of strength,
Exactly.
recognizing that you need help.
And it's also about modeling healthy coping mechanisms for your children.
Yeah, so they see you doing it,
Exactly.
and they learn
Right,
from
right.
watching you.
The book talks about creating a safe space for them to express their emotions
Okay.
and to develop their own coping skills.
So what are some ways to do that?
Well, the book suggests things like open communication,
Oh.
active listening,
Uh-huh.
validating their feelings.
Okay.
There's even a suggestion to create a feelings chart.
A feelings chart.
Yeah, where children can identify and express their emotions in a visual way.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's a great tool, especially for younger children.
Yeah, because they might not have the words yet,
Exactly. They might not know how to articulate what they're feeling.
but they can point to a picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the book also emphasizes the importance of having a plan in place for handling emergencies.
Okay, so being prepared.
Being prepared.
Yeah.
Whether it's a financial setback,
Okay.
a health crisis,
Right.
or any other unexpected event.
Because they do happen.
Oh, they always do.
Yeah?
So knowing where to turn for help can make all the difference.
Yeah, having that support system in place.
It's exactly.
whether it's family, friends, community resources.
Right, having those connections established beforehand.
So you're not trying to figure it out in the middle of a crisis.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the book encourages single parents to be proactive about building those support networks.
Don't wait till you need them.
Don't wait till it's an emergency.
Right.
Reach out and connect with people.
Okay, so let's move on to the final chapter,
Okay.
which explores the future of single-parent families.
That's an interesting one.
I'm really curious to hear what it says.
Yeah, me too.
What's the outlook?
Well, this chapter is really insightful.
Okay.
It highlights that growing prevalence of single-parent families.
Which we've talked about.
Yeah,
It's a growing demographic.
it is.
Yeah.
And it explores emerging trends that are shaping their experiences.
Like what?
Well, for example, it talks about the evolving role of technology in connecting single parents
Okay.
and providing access to resources.
Which is good and bad.
Right. It's a double-edged sword. But it also talks about changing societal attitudes
Okay.
and policies that are becoming more supportive of single-parent families.
So is the book optimistic about the future?
It is.
Okay.
It paints a picture of a future where single-parent families are fully supported and empowered.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great vision.
It's a hopeful vision.
Yeah.
It envisions a world where being a single parent is no longer seen as a deficit,
Okay.
but rather as a valid and valuable family structure.
And that's what it is.
Exactly.
So that's a great message to end on.
It is a message of hope and possibility.
And for you, dear listener, as we transition to our final part,
Yes.
we want you to consider this.
Oh, okay.
What are some of the ways you've seen society evolve to better support single-parent families?
That's a good question.
What changes would you like to see in the future?
Think about that.
We'll be right back after a short break to wrap up our deep dive into this really insightful book. Welcome back, everybody. So before the break, we were thinking about,
How society can better support single parents.
right, those changes we want to see.
Yeah.
And it really got me thinking about something
Okay.
that I thought was so interesting in this book,
Okay.
which is that it really emphasizes the emotional well-being
Mm-hmm.
of the parent.
Yeah.
It's not just about managing,
Today.
yeah, all the logistics,
Yeah.
but it's also about cultivating that sense of like,
Inner peace.
yeah, inner peace and strength
Absolutely.
for the parent.
Yeah.
And that really benefits the whole family.
It does. It creates that stable and supportive environment for
Oh.
everyone.
So one of the key takeaways for me
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the importance of teaching your kids
Okay.
how to manage their own emotions.
Oh, that's huge.
Because life throws curveballs.
It does.
It does.
Just all the time.
So how do you give your kids the tools
Right.
to deal with that?
Well, the book offers some practical techniques.
Okay, like what?
For example, it suggests using I statements
Okay.
to help children express their feelings.
So instead of blaming others,
Exactly.
Okay.
It also emphasizes mindfulness,
okay,
encouraging kids to become more aware of their emotions.
so they can recognize what they're feeling.
Exactly, and how those emotions impact their behavior.
Okay, so they're not just reacting to
Right,
things.
it's more in control.
And then for the parent, the book really stresses self-care.
Oh, that's so important.
It is, and it's not selfish.
No,
It's an act of love
it is.
and responsibility.
Towards yourself and your children.
Right.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
You can't.
Yeah,
But it's so easy to forget that
it is, especially when you're busy
when you're a single parent.
and you're juggling everything.
Yeah. And so what does that self-care look like?
Well, it doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Okay.
It's not about, expensive spa treatments.
Okay.
It's really about those small everyday things
Okay.
that nourish your mind, body, and spirit.
Like, give me an example.
It could be taking a few minutes to meditate,
Okay.
going for a walk in nature, connecting with a friend,
Okay.
reading a book.
So just taking some time for yourself,
Exactly.
even if it's 5 minutes.
Even 5 minutes can make a difference.
Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about communication.
Okay.
So important in any family,
It is.
but especially in single-parent families.
Absolutely.
So what does the book say about that?
Well, it really highlights open and honest dialogue,
Okay.
creating a space where children feel safe
Safe to talk?
to share their thoughts and feelings
Yeah. Without judgment?
without fear of judgment.
Yeah, that's so important.
It is.
But how do you do that when you're so busy
Right. It's a challenge.
juggling everything
It is.
as a single parent?
Well, the book encourages parents to be mindful
Okay.
of their child's unique way of communicating.
So not every kid's the same.
Not every kid's the same.
Right.
Some kids are very verbal.
Okay.
Others might communicate through art
Okay.
or through physical touch.
So you have to pay attention to your kid
Mm.
and how they communicate.
And adjust your approach accordingly.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the book also talks about culture
Mm.
and how that influences single-parent families.
Right, because cultural norms and expectations can play a big role.
They do.
Yeah.
So does the book have any advice?
It does. It encourages single parents to embrace their cultural heritage,
Okay.
but also to recognize that societal norms are constantly evolving.
So it's like finding that balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Between tradition and adaptation.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I want to circle back to the main message of this book.
The overarching theme.
Yeah,
Well, it's really a message of hope, resilience, and empowerment.
I like that.
Being a single parent comes with its own unique challenges,
It does.
but it's also a journey
Yeah.
filled with incredible love growth
And rewards.
and the opportunity to create a truly thriving family.
It's a different kind of family.
It is.
But it's still a family.
Absolutely.
And so this book reminds us that single parents aren't alone.
Right.
There are resources,
There are
support systems
and strategies.
that can help you navigate the challenges.
And celebrate the joys
Yeah, and embrace the joys.
of single parenthood.
Okay, so to wrap up this whole deep dive
Yeah.
into the world of single-parent families, we really hope
I hope so.
that you found it informative
And inspiring.
and inspiring.
Yeah.
So until next time,
Keep learning.
keep learning and keep diving deep.
Absolutely.